Welcome to the Harness Horse Youth Foundation video series. This presentation, the second in the series, is entitled Conformation. To become a knowledgeable horse person, it is imperative one first understand the structure of the horse. The education process can then continue as one learns how all of the separate parts should combine in order to achieve desired grace, speed, endurance, and stamina. Learning what to look for and how to evaluate what you see is a step in the right direction. Let's begin by getting some preliminary instruction from an expert.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ken Armstrong, and in the field here we have a 2-year-old standardbred colt. In a few minutes we're going to bring him in and we're going to learn to evaluate conformation. But before we want to talk about conformation, we want to know why conformation is important. When we work with horses, we talk about form to function. Does the form of the horse allow it to do the function that we ask it to? Let's take, for instance, this golf ball and this egg. Both are very similar in form. The golf ball's round, smooth, white. The egg is nearly round, smooth, white. But they're quite dissimilar in function, and I don't mean breakfast. The golf ball, we take it, we drop it, and it bounces back up. We throw it up in the air, and we can catch it. The egg, we throw it up in the air, and we can catch it. We drop it, whoops, doesn't bounce. Okay, now back to the horse. Basically, as we know, all horses have the same parts: head, neck, body, all the other parts. And it's how they fit together and how they interact one with the other when the horse is doing what you ask him to do that's important. So we're going to take this horse, we'll bring him in, and we're going to go over him, and we'll show you why you need good conformation if the horse is going to be able to do what you ask him to do. So we'll look at the balance on our horse, and we'll show how we divide the horse up. Basically, if you take a line to the ground from here and a line to the ground from about here, you compare this section to this section to this section. And in a well-balanced horse, each section is about the same length.
Here's a quick tip and a good practice lesson in determining balance in the horse. Take a photo of a horse and, using a pen or pencil, draw a line down to separate the 3 main body parts. Now measure to see if these are equal in length.
So you go back and look at his head and what's there and why. You like to have a nice wide forehead. Wide, so there's lots of room for air to pass up through into the windpipe. You want a flat face, wide face. You don't want it dished down in like this because it will restrict airflow. It can be out like this, like a Roman nose, which really doesn't restrict airflow, but some horses with nose out like this tend to be awful narrow there, and they can't get air. You want a good-sized nostril that opens right up when he takes air in. You want a good-sized eye, so he's got lots to see you with. Mouth, lips, and that sort of thing are normal. The important thing is that the teeth meet in the front. Good depth through here, that's his jaw. He's going to eat well, he wants a good depth through there. And the ears basically are there on balance. You go from the head back into the neck. Head-neck attachment is very important. In fact, that you don't want something goes like this and like that. You want a nice flat throat latch through there. And a lot of horsemen look at a horse and want to be able to put their hand in here between his jaw. That tells you that he's wide enough here to allow air to get in. Other thing I look at is the size of the windpipe in here. If it's not very big, you can't get enough air down. Your neck, length, thickness, and that has to do with balance. Back into the shoulder. Windpipe comes down through here, we're looking at that. Down through here. This area right through here is where the lungs are inside, and the heart's back down in here. So the horse has lots of room for air. And he wants a good wide girth. That means lots of heart room and lots of lung room. Top of the front quarter is the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade goes down through here. like that. Top of the shoulder blade, up here's the withers, point of the shoulder down here. We like the shoulder to be on a nice angle. If you draw a line down through here to the ground, you'd like to think it was about a 45-degree angle to the ground. Similarly, the point of the shoulder down to the elbow. You want a 90-degree angle there, and this comes out like that. And then from the elbow on down. Why do you want these angles up here? Is basically for shock absorption and stride. If the horse has a very straight shoulder, then all the concussion that comes up from the ground when he lands is taken on the bone, and it's a very stilted ride. If he has a nice 45 degrees, the muscles are able to take up the shock. You come down the arm, and you want basically the leg on a straight line down through like that. So all the bones, once again, same as they are in the front, all the bones are directly into the horse, and in a column goes straight up. You come down here, and this is the pastern, more shock absorption. Nice 45-degree angle there. And if you look at the horse, the pastern angle and the shoulder angle are usually about the same, parallel lines out. And they're used for shock absorption. The other thing about the angles are, you can have a horse that should normally stand this high, but because this angle is straightened out and this angle is straightened out, he stands about this high. So you think you have a tall horse, but really you just have a horse that's not conformed very well. Conversely, it can happen the other way, but not as likely. More often you get tall horses that are just straight. So we have everything in the column down through here, as we say, comes down right to the back of the heel there. We want this out here at close to 45. From foot back up through the pastern to the ankle joint. Want it nice and clean, round, good width. Tendon through here, suspensory ligament through here, and the cannon bone right here. So all three of these help to hold the horse up and absorb the concussion when he hits the ground. Want a nice flat knee. Flat knee tells you that there's very little problem in the knee, or very likelihood of having a problem there. Nice straight line down through here, right through there. Hoof wall wants to be pliable, not all dried out. Wants to be flat, smooth. Rings around it can indicate some problems with the horse. As I said before, you want nice angle to the ground. Decent length up here. You don't want this angle to be too flat, or you put the weight of the horse too far ahead of the bone. You want this angle to come down. You look, come on little fella. There you go. Pick the foot up. Of course we see the shoe, the sole, the frog, and the sulci. Between the frog and the sole, this is where objects can get stuck up in there, especially little stones, or moisture gets in there and causes thrush. So you want to keep the foot clean and as dry as possible, not absolutely dry, but as dry as possible. When the hoof hits the ground, then the heels spread, and the pressure on the frog acts like a pump and pumps the blood back up the leg. And you need a good pump in here to keep a good, healthy foot. Bulbs here. Some horses have a deep crack in here, which can get thrush into it also if you don't keep it clean. And a good, healthy hoof wall means that it's going to support the weight, and it can accommodate itself to the shoe. The sole is concave, so the sole from the outside here drops down into the foot. Horses where the sole is flat, there's a good possibility that they've been foundered at some time, and the coffin bone inside has pushed the foot down. Or even if they're flat but they've never been foundered, those horses tend to get sore on uneven surfaces because the sole is taking as much weight. The hoof around the outside should be what takes the weight. So we look at the front quarter. That comes down and attaches to the front quarter. Flow down through here, and a good full chest, good pectoral muscles, nice distance between the legs. We don't want them so wide that they're waddling like this, but we don't want them in underneath either. We want them set just the width of the shoulders apart. We want to be able to draw a straight line from the point of the shoulder right down through the leg to the ground. We want the toe to point ahead, like this fellow, so that you're essentially pointing out here. And the leg to be straight on top of the foot. Basically, it's a column holding the horse up. If the leg is straight and it's on top of the foot, then it's able to bear the weight. So on the shoulder blade, the front quarters, we move back into the body. So we've talked about before, this is the girth down through here. And you want a nice deep girth and wide ribs for the heart, which is down here, heart space and lung space. Horse has 18 ribs, go right back to about there, down like that. So as I said before, you have your lungs all through here, and then your internal organs in there. You want a nice, straight, flat back. You don't want one that curves down like that, because the spinal cord is underneath here, and it has to be straight to allow the nerves to work. So you want a nice straight flat back, go over to the loin, up a bit, a little higher here, but not pointed, and then falls over to the croup. So the important things about the body are you have a wide body, wide rib cage, and a deep girth. That allows you to take lots of air in and pump lots of blood. We'll look at the hind quarter. It's like this. Spine coming down through there. Your pelvic bone in here, which is round like this, with the legs coming off kind of like that. You want a nice wide pelvis, good hip bones, lots of distance down through here. You don't want a horse that drops off. You want a horse that nice comes right back here like this fella. There's the hip joint at about here. So you want a nice 45-degree angle down to the stifle, just like that to the ground, same thing. Right angle coming down to the gaskin, comes down through like that. This is your stifle. You want a nice dip there, but you want a fairly flat stifle. A little bit of a bump there, but not too much. When a horse stands up, can you go 1/2 a step ahead? It's getting close. Oh, that's good. Okay. So when he's standing square underneath himself, you want to be able to drop a line down through here that follows the back of the tendons right down to the ground. And that's a straight line. If he's in front of that line, he's too far under himself. If he goes like that, and if the whole leg is in front of it, it's too straight. Once again, it has to do with shock absorption. The better the angles, the more the shock absorption. The straighter the leg, the less shock absorption. You go down through here. You want a horse that's nice and clean through here. As I say, this should be a straight line, perpendicular to the ground. When he's standing straight, comes up through there. Then you've got a pretty clean hock. Once again, down into the ankle. Pastern joint and hoof. Tendon, suspensory, cannon bone. So we want a horse that's well muscled behind. It's got broad hips, full in the muscles through here. And with your angle down through to the stifle here, once again, it has to do with gait. This group of muscles pulls this up, and this group of muscles brings the leg ahead. If there's lots of angle here, then the leg can go out more. If it's pretty much putting her straight up and down, then it can only go out a little bit. So the angle and the good muscling gives you length of stride and a strong horse to push himself along in the stride. I like a horse wide through the stifle here. This is where most of your hind end power is going to come from, right here. Okay, so as in front, it's important to have the legs or the columns under the body, directly under the body, in a straight line. So we like to draw a straight line from here, right down through central leg down into the ground. And we like the hoof, everything to be pointing frontwards. If it's off that straight line, then it's not carrying the weight properly and you get a lot of extra stress and strain. You don't want them where the hocks here are close and the toes point out. That's called being cow-hocked. or you don't want any of the other variations. Here we have the chestnut, one inside of each front leg. This is for the right front, one for the left front is here. And basically, when horses, prehistoric times, horses started out, we think, with 5, we'll say fingers or 5 digits. The earliest pictures of horses we have, they were 3-toed. Since then, they've evolved back up through, so the horse walks on this finger, like that, and this finger have shrunk back up till they are splint bones here, one on each side of the knee. They think this little finger is, what's left of the little finger is the chestnut here, and basically the thumb is a little piece of tissue in here. So we have thumb, index, center finger, ring finger, little finger. Interesting to note, we showed you on the front leg where the chestnut was. Here's the chestnut and the hind leg. So they started out with 5 toes behind, moved down to 3, and now they're down to 1, the same as in front. One of the first things I like to do when I'm looking at a horse is just take a step backwards. Literally get back away from the horse, back off about 15 feet, get a look at the whole horse, and try to assess his overall balance and body. 2 things. First of all, we divide the horse into 3 sections, and each section will be the same length, so he's balanced out that way. We want to make sure that the legs are under him. They're straight columns bearing the weight. So we look at the front. Oftentimes what I do is just take a pin, and so I can see the line a little better. Put the pin up on the shoulder. Yes, that's 45, pastern. Drop a line down, see where the leg's straight under him, everything's straight under the leg, comes right down to the ground at the heel. It gives me an overall quick view of whether the horse's body is slung well over top his legs in front. Much the same goes on behind. So we come to the back, we look at the hindquarters. Are they well muscled? Nice flat croup. We take our pen, we can look, we can see that the bones coming down to the stifle are at a nice 45-degree angle to the ground, coming out of the stifle, down into the hock. If we take our pen, touch a point just at the back below the tail, it should run a straight line down through to the ground. This tells us that the leg is properly situated underneath the horse. Once again, we want to see that the columns are directly under the horse. So we can part our pen, put the point to the hip there, or by the tail, run a straight line down through the leg to the ground. We want lots of width in the stifle, nice muscling around the stifle area. We want nice muscling around the rump, and we want a flat, points to the hips, we want to be flat. We don't want one lower than the other. Can signify possibly pelvic fracture, this sort of thing. So we want them nice and flat. We want to make sure that these legs both point frontwards, not one off to the side, so that when that horse strides, he strides on a straight line straight through. Basically here, we're just looking for the same things we saw on the other side. We just want to make sure that the horse is balanced. We want to make sure that he's got a nice shoulder slope on this side. Leg goes straight down. The same types of things. Long underline, lots of length underneath, but not a really long back because he has to support his weight. So we want the horse that has the reasonably short back, nice sweeping long underline to give him room to stride through. And from the front, we're again making sure that those columns are straight underneath them. Line from the point of the shoulder right down through to the front point of the hoof. Make sure that leg's straight underneath them. Every bone's directly on top of one another. We like to have a nice broad chest, well muscled, lots of muscles through the shoulder to move that leg along. If we have all that, then we have a horse that's reasonably well balanced, and we start to look at him closer.
Making notes or marking diagrams are helpful when evaluating an individual's conformation. Having that visual reminder can be useful when reviewing all of the information that was gathered during the inspection. For the novice, it is beneficial to have a written record for comparison with the observations of a more experienced horse person. You'll see most serious horse buyers diligently marking sales catalogs or buyer's notebooks when studying a possible purchase. This example, the Horse Buyer's Notebook, published by Russell Meerdink Company Limited, is fairly detailed and provides a written conformation overview as well as diagrams for quick referral.
And so our 2-year-old goes back to the pasture, and that winds up our first lesson in conformation. If you want to get better at it, all you do is to spend your time, look at every horse you see, try to assess its conformation. Pretty soon it'll become second nature to you. Have fun.
The Harness Horse Youth Foundation is dedicated to providing education and resources to all who desire to learn more about the standardbred horse and harness racing. Kids and horses equal magic is a philosophy the founders believed in and is still today the basis of this organization's work. The HHYF helps create the right climate, the opportunities for that special magic. The foundation was incorporated in 1976 as a not-for-profit charitable organization. It began with the belief that, as with all sports, there must be a strong connection to the new generation. Since then, the HHYF has developed and delivered a wide range of programs and resources to countless young people. Its trustees and supporters are dedicated to the foundation.
It's a very worthwhile organization, and the youth is what we're trying to promote, being involved in the sport and being fans of the sport. And we've done a lot of worthwhile things, and we've got some very ambitious projects coming up. I'm very proud to be part of the Youth Foundation, and I think it's something that is for the future of harness racing.
One of the original programs, and still today one of the most popular, is the Day Camp. These days bring young people inside the sport to tracks, training centers, and breeding farms. Each participant experiences firsthand what a standardbred is and how all of the workings of the harness industry come together. Today, the HHYF offers support, expertise, and resources to the countless individuals and tracks that have taken up the role of camp facilitator. Camps are now held yearly all across North America, and hundreds of young people are getting the chance to learn about this versatile breed and all of the opportunities harness racing offers. A new program, aptly titled Hands On, has spun off of the Day Camp program. This venture offers inner-city youth 8 consecutive Saturdays learning and working with a professional trainer and staff. Each week, the young people gain more confidence and take on more responsibility for the horse's care. By the end of the program, a special bond has been developed between new groom and equine athlete, and a positive life experience has been completed. The Harness Horse Youth Foundation understands the need to keep resources and publications up to date and meeting the needs of the groups and individuals it serves. The role of information and education resource continues to expand. The HHYF publishes the comprehensive Equine School and College Directory. This is a complete listing of North American universities and colleges offering degrees with equine emphasis. The listings are detailed and provide as much information as possible about the courses. The directory also lists farrier schools, equine veterinary schools, and animal technology programs. It provides a source for scholarship information. The HHYF also publishes Studying the Standardbred, Careers in Harness Racing booklet, Futurity, the Foundation newsletter, and the extremely popular and coveted Harness Hero cards. Each year, the HHYF awards 15 scholarships to young people pursuing equine-related careers. Applications and eligibility forms are available to all interested persons by contacting the Foundation. If you would like to know more about the Harness Horse Youth Foundation, its projects, programs, scholarship criteria, and resource material, or if you would like to know how you can support the HHYF, please contact us. On the web, we can be found at www.hhyf.org. Email us at hhyfetaylor@iquest.net or fax us at 317-848-5136. Our telephone is 317-848-5132. Or you can write us. The Harness Horse Youth Foundation, 14950 Greyhound Court, Suite 210, Carmel, Indiana, 46032.